This time, we're going to make a crazy, useless but very interesting project. A ghost bike with a frame cast from transparent epoxy, which we'll put to the test. Enjoy watching. As you could tell from the snowy shots, this project started a long time ago. For the donor, we took this old bike with a classic frame. An hour later, it was disassembled, looked like this. But there's just one downside. Andrei has nothing to write home on, but jumping ahead a bit, I'll say it was worth it. I hope Andrei feels the same way. To cast a solid and durable frame out of epoxy resin, we need to make a complex two-part silicone mold. It's for this mold that Andrei is building the formwork. A kind of sarcophagus made from laminated chipboard. A day's work and about 100 screws. And now we have a box where the bike fits just perfectly. And that's important, because silicone form molds isn't cheap, and every square centimeter counts. In order for the silicone mold to come off the frame easily, it needs to be prepared. The first step is to sand it and remove all the excess. The next step is to mix up some glossy varnish. Mix it thoroughly and get the frame ready for painting. Degrease it, wipe it down, and now you can apply the varnish. To make sure the silicone can be easily removed from the box, we coat both the formwork and the frame itself with a release agent. This is a spray wax. So the frame is finally prepared and placed in the ready-made formwork. Now we can mix the silicone for the mold and pour the first layer. Since the rear fork is quite a complex part to mold, it was therefore decided to make it in 4 pieces, 2 for each side of the fork. That's why Andrei first carefully poured a thin layer, and once it's set, he then applied the release agent again. The next step is to mix the same silicone and pour the matching part of the first side of the fork. Yes, it sounds complicated, and in practice it isn't very easy either. But in the end we should get a precise reusable mold, which is very important, since there's no guarantee we'll get such a complex casting right on the first try. With the rest of the frame, everything is much simpler, since the mold will be made in the standard way 2 parts, without any special tricks. First, we pour silicone over the frame exactly up to the halfway point, evenly around the entire perimeter. for the silicone to set, apply a release agent, and fill it up to the top with silicone. That's how two-part molds are made. To minimize silicone consumption, we fill the space between the rear stays with this kind of insert. To be honest, I don't remember what it's called. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments. We pour the silicone directly onto this grey insert. It's quite thick and should stay in place. The highest points will serve as spruce from the rod pour on. That's where we'll pour the resin. That's why we attach the tube. We also carefully crafted an intermediate channel between the two sprues to ensure that all the air completely escapes from the mold. In the end, we used over 15 kilograms of silicone and spent a couple of weeks on the work. The next day, when the final layer of silicone had dried, we carefully disassembled the formwork, since we'll need it again. As you can see, these numbers on the formwork aren't there by accident. They'll make things much easier when we have to reassemble the puzzle. As you can see, the release agent works perfectly and the first part separates from the second without much effort. Afterwards, everything was assembled in exactly the same way as it was taken apart. The only difference is that we placed the parts into the mold that can't be embedded into the epoxy frame later. That's the fork and the bottom bracket, I think that's what it's called. And once all the elements are loaded into the mold, and the mold is placed in the formwork, we start the pour. For this, I used a compound called Monolith 5. It's a reliable, proven compound. You can work with it at a relaxed pace, which is very important for this kind of casting. After 7 days, we remove the formwork. But it's not that simple. We didn't connect the two parts of the silicone mold together in any way. And of course a bit of excess resin seeped out between them. We knew this would happen, which is why we made the entire formwork airtight. In our view, the excess resin was supposed to slightly spill into the formwork. But since there are no voids there, the resin really had nowhere to go, and that's basically what happened. But that small amount was enough to solidify the formwork. Completely. And as much as I wanted to save it, I had to resort to drastic measures. And of course I can't wait to take a look at the result, even if it's just a quick peek. Yes, Andrei spent the whole day assembling it, and now I'm carefully taking it apart. Once the main formwork is disassembled, I trim the sprues so I can remove the top layer of the mold. And finally, I get to see the result or the lack thereof. Overall, everything is great. I'm pleasantly surprised except for one flaw. The very top point of the rear fork turned out to be a bit underfilled. Apparently the resin found a way out and escaped from the very top point. Although there was still resin left in the sprue until the very end, which we watched closely against the backdrop of the overall success, this isn't even a problem. As you remember, we placed the fork into the mold beforehand. It was also pre-coated with wax in advance, and here you can clearly see how the resin separates from the treated part. This is necessary so that the handlebars can turn and the bicycle is at least somewhat functional. To make the frame transparent, it needs to be coated with glossy varnish. But first, sand it thoroughly, starting with 240 grit and finishing with 600 grit sandpaper. For the area that wasn't completely filled to the very top, we will add more resin, making a local formwork out of tape, just like this. Now we can move on to varnishing and assembly. Obviously this isn't the bike for everyday use. It's just a project in the category of what if. After looking at the finished result with Andrei, we realized that we could have also made transparent wheels, handlebars and fork. Basically a complete ghost bike. We've already figured out how to do it properly. Of course it's a complex, labor-intensive and costly project. If you kindly support us and help widely spread this video, we'll release the second part very soon, where you'll clearly see a fully transparent, incredibly unique bike, as well as its comprehensive crash test. We'll thoroughly test how long and under what significant loads it can be safely ridden. And considering that the seat is also entirely made of epoxy, it's going to be quite an extraordinary spectacle. In general, if you think this kind of content deserves your attention, the best way to support it is to share. Share this video anywhere you like and also leave a like and a long comment. All of this takes less than a minute, and in return, we'll dedicate a month of our time to the second part. How does that sound? Thanks for watching and best wishes from Topo. you can see, unfortunately the seat isn't adjustable and Andrei made it to fit himself.